Love Where You Live, a podcast where we have conversations about why it's awesome to live in Boulder and the Boulder Valley. And today I am sitting with a friend of mine who I couldn't be more excited to get to know a bit more. And I'll just give my intro as I usually do. The way that I know this guest is by way of, she's a family first individual. She's a mom, she's a wife, and then she's also just an amazingly fun individual in our community. Often you say her name and people will immediately say, I know her, I love her, gosh, let's get to know her. That's a true story. But also, this woman was, in her time, a top-level cross-country mountain bike racer and managed to go twice in a row, third place at the World Championships for cross-country mountain biking, and second place at a World Cup. I believe 2009, 2010 was the zone. I'm going to verify those stats. Today I'm sitting with the one and only Willow Rockwell. Willow, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Michael.
Was that fairly...
I feel pretty, awesome.
Well, good.
Thanks.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad.
Good intro.
That's a good intro?
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, that's just how, I like to say, that's how I view you. Like, there's the accolades and there's some cool stuff, but realistically, I interacted with you first in the family sphere. Like, you know, your girls and, you know, my kids and the pool and some friends of friends and that.
Yep.
And so, to me, that's where I really know you. And I'm not kidding. You're one of those people. I say the name I mentioned. Oh, Willow's coming on the show. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I really want to get to know her. And somehow I don't know where the spheres cross, but that happens a lot.
That's cool. Thanks. I mean, I do try to raise the vibe. So
good. Yeah.
I definitely try not to be the downer. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's really how I contribute to the community and my family. Yeah. Of course, I have bad days just like everybody else. But if I'm going out to a girls' lunch or if I'm at the ranch, I'm going to be like high vibe. So
yes,
yeah,
yes, good vibes.
Yeah.
I know, and that would have been perhaps a better intro. Is good vibes always coming from Willow. So, but thank you so much for being here. I reached out and I was super excited. Amanda, who you're good friends with as well, said, you know what, you're not going to regret this. This is going to be amazing. Make sure she comes on the show. And lucky enough, you and Miles both said yes. So
yes, you got the Rockwells today.
Got the Rockwells. So, okay, so here's how we go. And I sent you a bit of an outline. This is kind of how we like to go. I love to start at the beginning, learn a little bit more about you before we even get to Boulder. And so I know you weren't born and raised here, but I don't know a whole lot. So what I always like to ask is, we'd like to know what it was like where you grew up. Did you have a brother, sister? What was it like growing up? I know that you got this high level of mountain biking, but that doesn't just happen immediately. So tell us about a little bit of the background of what it was like to be a little kid and where you grew up.
Well, I kind of have a crazy life story, but I'm going to keep it high vibe,
okay.
You know? But kind of simply with the mountain bike stuff, I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina. So I know, of course, there's been hurricanes and all kind of crazy stuff lately, so I really don't know what the trail situation is like now. Yes. I imagine there's a lot of repair work to do. But in the 90s, growing up in Asheville, North Carolina, the trails were like everywhere. In fact, they had a big series, Western North Carolina, and that was one of the places that most of the pros would come ride and race at because the prizes were so good, and there was like races every weekend. So I don't know if you've been to North Carolina or not, but also in Brevard, North Carolina. Uh-huh. So there was this huge race there that was like 10 minutes from where I grew up.
Okay.
So I remember being like 15, I think, and maybe I was 14, but I did my first race there in Brevard. And then it was just like, I'm pretty sure I won. I don't really remember, but all of a sudden it was just like, that's what I was doing. But then in Helen, Georgia, maybe a month or two after my first race was a national championship.
Okay.
So in the junior category. Yeah. So I won the junior category, and the coach for USA Cycling was there, and he said, well, you need to come to the World Championships. You're going to be our, pick, coach's choice, I think is what they called it.
Right.
Because I hadn't gone to any of those nationals before. Yeah. So I didn't really have a ranking or anything. I raced in Vail, Colorado in my first national World Championship. Oh. I should have known the date.
But hold on a second.
But I feel like that was 2004. I'm pretty sure it was Vail. We could look that up. But there was a World Championship.
Okay. So
no, that is 1994.
I'm like,
oh my God. Yes, I'm ancient.
I'm like, okay. No, you're not. So here, and I'm like, I'm in that same zone. We're about the same age. Here. Let me just pedal back because what I just said was, you probably didn't just go from like
But I
this to that,
did.
but you did.
Yeah.
So I want to know and we don't have to start at the very beginning, but like, were you active before you found the bike? Were you just running, playing tennis? I mean, what was the thing?
I loved gymnastics.
Gymnastics, okay.
Yeah, I was like obsessed.
Okay.
You know, I thought I was going to go to the Olympics for that. And
Okay.
I'm a big dreamer.
Yes,
I think,
I love
which is
that.
also why things like happen for me, because I just think anything is possible.
Yes.
You know,
No
you
way.
still have to follow through, but I'm very much like, don't tell me I can't do it, because I will. You know.
of course.
But I was very into gymnastics, running. You know, I would like beat all the boys at running, like
I'm not
up until
surprised.
like 8th grade
Okay.
and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, the bike, it would just happen to be like, here, try this race. It's like
No
10
way.
minutes from home.
Okay, because like I just imagine like you're essentially you're a child of the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah,
Like we're talking about,
77.
you're growing up, yeah, right. So you're born then, and you're 80s. You're rolling around, and like traditional sports kind of led the way. I mean, still mountain biking is coming in. People grab the bike. We all rode bikes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a natural like offering always, I think. But maybe it was in Asheville.
I don't know what, I
You
really
don't
don't know
know?
what
That's
happened. I
awesome.
really think it's like a destiny thing,
Okay.
because being in
Yeah.
that sport, I mean, I ended up racing pro for 17 years. I turned pro, I was at 18, I
Yeah.
think. So,
So good. Okay.
it
Yeah.
just,
That was
it
your
was
thing.
a whole trajectory of my
Yeah.
life. It was like, I mean, I like to call them portals. It was like, that was the portal. It was
Yeah.
like, here's the bike. You're going to end up traveling the world. You're going to end up meeting, well, ex-fiance. Then you're going to meet like your husband
Yeah.
one day. But all these things, like,
Yeah.
it was like the bike that brought
Opened that
me
portal for
to
you.
so many different things.
Yeah, of
you know?
course. Oh,
It's like
no.
I couldn't avoid it.
No, it was there. Okay,
yeah.
I'm a believer in just everything you just said as well. I mean, you see it too much, so if you're paying attention, you'd probably believe as well. But now cutting. Okay, so I'm just thinking, 15-ish, and you're doing some sports. You're trying to be Mary Lou Retton or
Yeah.
whomever. She's just but ultimately you do great in the first bike race, and it takes off. So literally in your first season, you're going from Brevard to Helen, Georgia to Vail.
Yeah.
And boom, 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 and you were victorious in all three.
No, I did not win the world championships.
Okay.
I wish
Oh,
I
yeah, I
did.
guess I would've had that in my
I think
stats.
I got 7th place.
Still.
But it was pretty good. But okay, that was the first time I'd ever raced at altitude. I was a wreck. You know, I'm from like Asheville, North Carolina. I had no idea. You're like, I cannot breathe. I'm dizzy. But and you know, it was chicks from all over the world. I'm pretty sure a French girl won. They had like some pretty rocking like juniors back in the
Right,
day.
right.
And you know, great riders still now. But really the lucky break, I would say,
Yeah.
came in because there was this man who had a junior Devo team. His name was John Kemp, and it
Okay.
was called Rock Shocks. That was like the forks and stuff.
Yeah.
Suspension. Devo for development.
Okay.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
he
Devo.
saw me in Vail, and he was like, hey, we literally sponsor juniors. Do you want to travel around the country next summer? And I was like, well, okay.
I'll think for a
Yeah.
second. That sounds pretty good.
So that was awesome. I mean, they paid for everything. They paid
Yeah.
for all the flights, all
Yeah.
the travel, all the
Yeah.
accommodations. I mean, so, you know, the parents didn't have to be on the hook for this. They gave you the
Right.
bike, equipment.
Right.
I mean, it was
Pretty
a lucky
incredible.
break. Because
Pretty
how
good,
else
yeah.
can you travel the world? I mean,
Yeah, it's
I even went to Germany. Yeah, the next World Championships were in Kurzart, Germany. So it got international pretty quick,
right,
too.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is fun. So I want to look at this for a second. You're in your high school age.
Yeah.
Still in school,
in
still
high school.
home. You're still Asheville. That's home, but you get to bop around and go all these cool places.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is not our entire audience understands endurance sports like you and I do. Cross-country mountain bike racing is the kind of, and tell me where I'm wrong, this is the kind of racing where you're going up, down, all around, great skills, great handling, through trees, over roots,
Yeah.
rocks. It's the works.
It's crazy. Amanda texted me during the Olympics. She's like, Willow, were you in the cross-country mountain bike? And she's like, this is freaking scary. And I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, trust me, I know. Because the level of like what was going on, because the equipment got so much better over the
Yeah,
span of
yeah.
my career as well.
sure.
So then the jumps are bigger. The things are kind of terrifying, actually. We would call them death chutes, especially in Europe. You're standing at the top of the thing and you're like, I guess I'm just going to go for it.
Down the death chute.
Yeah.
Here we go. But and this is, I was kind of, there's one little tiny pushback. The equipment's gotten better, and so stuff's got more extreme. But to look back at that, the extreme stuff you're doing on that equipment.
Oh, yeah.
It
actually blows my mind thinking about it.
It's equal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, okay, give me today's bike. That stuff would have felt easy. That same level would be what you're doing now. So I just, you know what I mean? I guess if I'm expressing myself well, you're
saying
on par.
I'm a badass.
You're a badass.
You.
If you were third at World Championships then, you're third at World Championships now.
Right.
Equipment on, so terrain changes. And I was sitting with Amanda and Valentine when she asked that. And then Valentine was like, what? Because we were all fascinated to watch it. And it was super fun to see there in Paris. So this year's Olympics. But all right, so you're in high school age. You're attending high school, perhaps.
Yes.
Kind of going through a little
Brevard
bit of
High School, actually.
Brevard High School. Okay, and a little bit of a normal track on that side, but then you leave, and you're like, "I'll see you kids later. I'm going to Germany this weekend," sort of thing.
Yeah, and I sucked, but
you sucked in Germany, maybe.
Yeah, I think I was last. Okay, so now they have pit stops. Or pit where you break a chain, you have a flat tire, you can get assistance and you can keep in the race. They didn't have that.
No.
Back in 1995.
No.
If you got a flat tire, the race was over.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I did, broke a chain or something. It was Kirzart in Germany. It was super muddy. I'm pretty sure I broke a chain. So I ended up running my bike to finish the race, but I was last.
Well, good for you.
Thanks.
I'll take a knuckle because that is my kind of athlete right there. You run the bike ride. You did not drop out.
I was dead last.
I love that. Still, you finished.
Yeah. I am like some kind of galactic warrior thing. I don't know where I get like the warrior mode, but it was like always there.
Good.
And I can turn it back on if I want to.
I know. I love it. It's just like, so it's hiding in there.
Yeah.
Okay. This is neat. But then, so as you're progressing, like, again, we won't spend all the day talking about this, but to me, it's really fascinating where you came from, which brings you to where you are. So, when was it that you realized, hey, maybe next step or sponsors or team or whatever that you're going to leave North Carolina, and where'd you go?
Well, I actually ended up going to college at UNCA, which is University of North Carolina, Asheville, and they did not have a bike team, but the first year, the national championships for collegiate was in Kentucky.
Okay.
I went to that race. I was the only person. I went with a mechanic and my brother just for support. I don't even think I got to practice the course. I was just wearing like an all-black outfit, kind of like today. And they were like, you need a jersey from your school. And I'm like, I don't have a school jersey.
Yeah.
So I wrote on a white T-shirt, UNCA.
Nice.
And I won.
And that would have made all the press.
So I did get, like in Velo News and stuff, they write up like who wins the national championships. And funny enough, I beat the reigning national champion. She was Norwegian and she went to school here at CU.
Oh, little
and they had a rocking team.
They had legit,
people were kind of like, who is this chick that
came
out of nowhere?
With the Sharpie.
Yeah, it's like The Cutters or whatever, that movie.
Oh my gosh,
so I ended up winning 3 national collegiate championships. And I'm kind of, to be honest, fuzzy on like, I think it was even during college, I was still racing like expert. Well, obviously I turned pro because I was doing pro races at 18.
Yeah.
John Kemp from Devo, he sponsored me for like 1 pro year. Oh, and then in North Carolina, there's a company called Cane Creek.
Yeah.
And so they sponsored me.
Okay.
And then after Cane Creek, did I get on Polo Ralph Lauren? I am rusty.
Okay. No, that's neat.
Rusty
so if we're rolling into the, we're rolling into that zone of early 90s, that Ralph Lauren polo team came about.
Yeah, that was my dream.
Yeah.
My mechanic at the time, he was like, whatever, keep dreaming. And like I told you, I said, if someone says I can't do it, I will.
Call it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was actually skiing in Telluride during the winter, and I got the call. I had to like call from a payphone to like check in to see if, because I put in my resume to a Polo Ralph Lauren, and it was Dave Weens who was the team manager. Yeah. Do you remember him?
I do, yeah.
He's so awesome. He was the best team manager of all time.
Yeah. He's around here still.
For some reason, I have to keep checking in and calling from the payphone at Telluride. But then finally, he was like, well, yeah, we want to have you on the team. We want to give you, like, to me, it was gazillions of dollars, whatever he said. Because, like, everything's paid for. I was like, oh, my God, I won the lottery. I'm freaking on Polo Ralph Lauren.
They're paying for everything.
So that was really awesome. It just kept rolling. I mean, trust me, I have had such an up and down career. Yes. But it's like I'd always... like do great right when it was time to like maybe be
so
fired
good.
from some
That's
team
so
or
good.
something like that.
Yes.
So
And you have, I think that you said it early, like you bring the vibe, and I think that you have clearly had that in you, or a recognition of the importance of that. And
Yeah.
right, not just the capture the moment, but putting the right energy and the right vibe out at the right time, and recognizing the ups and downs.
Yeah.
But that's certainly, I think, evident with what you just said.
I had some kind of like magical underdog, like come out of nowhere kind of
That's cool. That is
momentum
so cool.
going for me.
Yeah.
And then it's like right when everyone would least expect it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Like I'd
cool.
be like the worst for like 2 weeks, and like this was on when I was on Ralph Lauren actually. When I won my first national in Vermont, like professional.
Professional.
And I think for like 2 weeks before that, I mean, I was terrible. I was just like so overtrained, really. And like, let's just say like heavy energetic things from life were all over me. There was like lots of groups of people I needed to get away from, things like that. I met a shaman actually in Whistler, and she was like, let's just do like energy healing, clearing work. I worked with her for like 2 weeks, and then I came and won that race by like 3 minutes. And people were like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. This is just the way I work. We know everything's energy, but like I have really been always like that. Like I have to be connected to the freaking cosmic energy or things are not going to work out for me.
And not
biking or life.
And biking and life.
Yeah.
Well, a little metaphor within their biking to life. But I think, not everybody, you said we all know it's energy, it's all energy, but not everybody sort of understands that or is aware of that or cares to understand that, look at it. And so it's kind of neat. And you're really good at that. Let me just say this. Okay, so if I keep saying pedaling back, which
I know I don't even. It seems like a past life.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
this is neat.
Yeah.
So you're fuzzy on the details, and that's what's super cool. Because again, I introduce you as a totally different character now.
Yeah,
a different chapter of your life, and so. But do you remember? Hopefully, you remember this. You said when I won my first national. How many national championships have you won? If you count pro or amateur.
I've never won a amateur.
Amateur.
Okay, collegiate 3.
Collegiate 3.
Now I haven't won the national championship as a U.S. pro, but I won lots of national races.
National races,
right, it's just confusing because then they put it into a big series, and it's like you need to win the series. Then finally, towards the end of my career, they started having like one-day national championship races. I got second a gazillion times.
Yes.
I am like queen of second place.
Second, and then third. Okay, and the resume leads. Okay, but as you're going, so interesting though. You've won a lot of big races. Yeah. And then you're finding your way. Is this all still mostly based out of North Carolina? When do you?
No. I moved to. I had 2 Canadian boyfriends. So I was in Canada. Not at the same time. Yeah. Maybe one day.
Yeah, one day. Maybe a little crossover, but okay. So bad joke.
But so I was spending a lot of time in Canada and like training. I would train with the Canadian team and things like that. Yeah. So I was by 21 pretty much all over the place.
You're on the road. Yeah.
On the road.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
I mean, I felt like a flight attendant, to be honest. A little bit, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like with a landing pad, I'd be here or there. But I loved it. Yeah, good. I mean, it was great for me.
That's awesome.
But my real breakout, since I'm so fuzzy, it was like 2009.
Okay.
So I had huge life changes. So this is back to what we were saying. Like if I'm aligned, well, I call it destiny energy. Right. It's like that's what's like the magic sauce, I think. The secret sauce is like if you're on your destiny path, like boom, boom, boom.
Can't stop you.
You know what I mean? Yeah, unstoppable. So I had a fiance. He was great, but I went to Ashland, Oregon for a Super D race. Do you know about Super D? They invited me to that because the previous year, like I said, it was my sucky year. It was 2008. Right. I was a favorite to go to the Olympics again. Every time it was Olympic year, I was just like a mess. You know what I mean? So they were like, well, maybe you're not like World Cup material. What about this like Super D stuff? And I was so mad, to be honest, that I was there because it's like, no, I'm like, look, I'm going to come back. I'm going to be great. This is my dream. I'm going to go to the next Olympics.
Right.
So I go to this race and it's all dudes and only me, and Miles happens to be there, and he was already way retired. He retired in like 2001. But he had just gone through a divorce, and he was like, I want to have some fun. Maybe the Super D is this thing. It was like this new sport, basically, in mountain biking. And I was so irritated to be there, and he was like trying to be nice. I was so annoyed by him at first. But then I don't know what happened in like overnight. I was like, wait a minute. This guy's like really hot, actually.
Yeah.
And funny, and he's paying a lot of attention to me.
Right.
So, long story short, it was just like, whoa, I like can't get married. Like, I drove back up to Whistler. Have you ever been there?
I have.
That road, sea to sky.
It's
I had to pull over. I'm kind of like having a panic attack talking about it because it was so scary. I was like, I felt like I was going to throw up. I was going to pass out. I had to pull over. I'm like, I can't go back. I can't go back. I can't get married. I can't. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what is even going on? I'm like, gosh. I have no idea if Miles wants to be together. I mean, it was just like everything changed. I called my coach, and he was like, well, guess what? I have a place for you to stay in Durango. I was like, you got to be kidding me, because that's where Miles was living.
And that was just.
So I just.
So you
went to Durango, and I called Miles. Because he gave me his number, of course.
Yeah.
But I called him maybe a few days after I was there. And I was like, well, guess what? I'm in Durango. He's like, you got to be kidding me. And I was like, no, I'm in Durango. And so we got together. Yeah. We did a bike ride. We fell in love in like a week.
Oh,
and then kind of the rest is history. But so that was 2009. And training with him and riding with him. And again, it's that energetic thing. Like I wasn't like carrying all this stuff. I was clean and clear from like what I was not meant to be doing.
Yes.
I just freaking started going so fast, and people were like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "This is destiny energy.
Yeah,
I'm back in my flow." So I feel like I got the top 3 at Mount St. Anne World Cup. Like at the World Cup level, I started doing really great.
Right.
And so the World Championships were in Australia that year.
Okay.
And I won some national races too.
Yeah.
By like a lot.
Yeah.
It was just like all building up.
You're
you know
when
you're on fire, and you're like, I am right on time.
Totally.
So the World Championships were in Canberra, Australia that year, and it was like one of the most magical races of my life. I couldn't even feel my legs. I was like, who's riding?
Best day.
You know?
Love that.
I like passed the current Olympic champion. I didn't even realize it because I was like so in the zone. People were like, wow, you dropped her like a sack of potatoes. I'm like, I don't even know what happened, but I got third.
Got third. Yeah. And that was 2009. And
then 2010, I got second place in the first World Cup of the year. Because at this point, I was way focused on World Cup.
Let's do it. Yeah, World Cup. Yep.
I got second place in the first 2 World Cups, and then I ended up leading the World Cup.
So good.
So one was in England, London. Where were we? Derby Forest, something.
Yeah.
And then the other one was in Houffalize, Belgium, which is like the most epic place to race because people are bike crazy.
Oh, they love bikes.
They
love the sport.
It's like a rock concert.
It's a proper sport. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are into it.
So I was so like focused on winning both of those. So I was like bummed because I got second in Houffalize by like 3 seconds. There was a lapped rider. I had to get off. It was such a thing. So I was like so bummed. But like my manager was like, "You're leading the World Cup," and I was like, "Okay, cool."
Amazing.
And then, wow, that was like kind of crazy actually. Like all the magazines calling 100%. You and you doing all the interviews. You're like, top. Oh my gosh. Yes. And so the rest of the year went pretty great. I ended up finishing second overall in the World Cup, and then I again got third place at the World Championships in Mount St. Anne.
Yeah.
And little did I know that was my last World Championships, because then Raven came in from heaven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little Raven. In 2011. Mm-hmm. Oh, my word. Yeah, new plans, new chapter.
Yeah. And remember, I was like, going to go to the Olympics again. It's like, no, you're not.
Nope, not this round. Yeah. But you were poised to it, and all things would indicate that if that were your destiny, you would have, right? Yeah. You would have been there.
Yeah.
You know what's super cool, and I don't want to miss this or gloss over too much, is just that not only you're aware of it and looking back, but all those times where you weren't in alignment, and then the true alignment, and we just was when you got to that new space in Durango with Miles.
Yeah.
And then everything is just cleared and ready in the path. I mean, that's just, it's beautiful. And I'm a sucker. I'm a romantic.
Yeah. I love it. I know you're a Libra.
I know. You know, I do. Yeah. And I also love Miles, and I also see you guys. It's one of those things when you see couples sometimes, You're like, there's no way this could have been any other way.
Yeah.
And you guys are that way.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. And now you're Durango. You're 2011, top of the world.
Yeah.
Find out you're pregnant.
I actually found out
I
I was pregnant in South Africa at the first World Cup of the year in 2011.
And you're like, how'd you do?
I'm like, wow. I tend to really bring the drama.
Yeah, you're like, nothing goes smoothly easily.
I didn't race. I was like,
okay.
Look, like we were engaged,
Yeah.
and I was like, at some point we know we want a family. I would have never forgiven myself if like something had happened.
Yes,
I had a bad crash or
I know.
like, and I was just like, again with the destiny energy. I'm like, wow, like okay, And so I just told the team. It was kind of crazy. I'm like, team dinner. Hi, guys. Like, I'm pregnant. The whole thing was like so dramatic. And it was like all the way down in South Africa, which is crazy. It's like takes forever to get back home, you know?
Boy.
But
So
I had just signed a 2-year contract because, again, I was a favorite for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, not to just go, but to like win,
Compete.
you know?
Oh, my word.
And so I was like, I'm going to come back, you know, me and my comeback stories.
Sure.
And I did try to come back. But again, that was like not meant to be. The race the next year, 2012, first one was back in South Africa. Miles came with me with like 6-week-old Raven. She was born, maybe she was a little bit older, but not much because she was born the last day of 2011. And man, was that ever a shocker. Dude, I was like, who is this person that used to race because it's not me? Like, I cannot do this. Obviously, I had not near enough time to like even get into shape.
For sure.
But then just one thing after the next kept happening. Like I was getting like really bad crashes. I was like getting mastitis, which is like infection. So you can't like nurse your baby.
Right.
And then Raven was getting sick. And, well, you know, I tend to talk to like spiritual advisors and things like that. And, energy, anybody, astrology, this, that, and the other thing. That's my jam. But finally I was talking to someone, they're like, what would happen if you just quit? And it like never crossed my mind. Because I've been in this since I was 15.
Right.
I'm like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to the freaking Olympics. I got to get there, you know? Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's an option. And then, you know, Miles, he's just like such a rock star. He's just like, we can do it. I mean, I was making a lot of money at the time. So it was like a big
of course. It's a
situation
big
to be like, okay, we have a new baby. Let's X all that out. We're going to start over and do another way. But he's like, I got you. I got this, you know. And I was like, okay, I'm going to retire. So that's what I did. It was April,
Yeah, you gave
May.
it a couple months. Yeah,
it was like,
it
it was about time to go back to like Europe. And I just kept crashing, kept getting sick, all these things. And I was like, okay, I'm out. I'm retiring.
Yeah. Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was, a few months before the Olympics in 2012. But
right.
I'm like, I'm not going to keep taking on this money.
And
I can't show up.
Well,
I don't know. It just was
like,
just time to quit.
Time to quit. Yeah.
Maybe quit's not a better.
No.
I mean, it wasn't like I quit. It was more like, again, that destiny thing. It's like, I got to take care of myself and my baby, and my husband wants to take care of us, so let's do this.
Well,
it's like,
I think, and I think that, quit has some negative connotations to it because it's used in a lot of ways that have negative vibes around it, but realistically, what you did was you walked away. You closed the chapter, and so like that.
It's one of my favorite things, Michael.
Yeah.
Less than a chapter. It's more like a book.
A book,
like,
close the whole book. Yeah,
like even true. I won't I was like, well, I'm just not going to talk about my childhood because that's not fun. That book is closed, but I'll talk about where I grew up and da-da-da. But there's so much like power and freedom in being able to like walk away when you need to from whatever it is, you know?
And it's not easy.
No, it's not.
People find
but I'm good at it.
You're good at it. And that's, and you know what? It's something that people aspire to or should work on because change is difficult. Moving on is difficult. You know, getting a pattern of inertia. I often see that, and I see that myself personally. But inertia moves you along, right? Yeah. And something that's in motion, it's harder to stop.
Yeah.
And so I think that deserves, kudos. In addition to all the other stuff that you deserve kudos for. Which let's go that way. So you started the new book. And it's what? What would you define the next book? That are we still in this book? Or have there been a couple books? There was the next book. Closed it. 2011.
Well, it did take me a long time. I was talking about that warrior mode.
Yeah.
To feel like being a mom and a wife was good enough because I'm so like used to striving, like getting the medal, getting the trophy, getting da-da-da. And so I wouldn't even call it like an ego thing or an ego death I had to go through. It was more just like a lot of programming about like really just being like a soldier, like boots on the ground kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was so in my
Interesting.
cells and so like embedded with self-worth too, that I had to really unwind a lot of that stuff. And being a mom and a wife is the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. So I'm really in that chapter, especially now, like Raven's 13 and I know I'm not tall, but she's almost as tall as me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like 5 years, she'll be 18. Like it just starts to go, like they say, faster
Very
as time
fast.
goes on. And so I'm just enjoying being able to be there
Yes.
for them,
Yes.
like drive them wherever they need to
Yes.
go. Like, you know, they both ride horses a
Yes.
lot. So we do a lot of that. And I'm just like soaking it up, really.
For sure. I know. And that's
Yeah.
where we kind of, that's where we merged. I mean, we saw one another at the pool and the kids were real
Mm-hmm.
little and mutual friends, but then later reconnecting at Triple Creek and watching the girls and
Yeah.
watching you. You didn't know anything about horses and watching you just dive in as sport
Yeah.
and be there every day. It's so, I mean, to me, that's the beauty. I love that as I love seeing parents in their element and seeing you in that space.
Yeah.
So very cool. And I want to kind of just rewind a tiny bit. You know, it wasn't ego driven. You said walking away from it, because I want to just touch on that, because a lot of folks that do listen to us are experiencing or have experienced an identity shift or change.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like, well, the operating system of your phone, right?
Yeah.
And you have to reboot and start over.
Yeah.
With you had to get rid of the operating system, which was that goal chasing,
Yeah.
self motivated, self focused.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, you're not self focused anymore.
No.
And as a pro athlete, you are self focused.
Yes. Oh God, I know,
So,
right? Like, my pillow's not right, or like this,
all those big things.
yeah, everything needs a tweak here and there. Yeah, I feel like I'm naturally a nurturing person. That's
Yes.
part of it. Like
Yes.
I'm the soldier too, but it's just like being in that soldier mode
Yeah.
for so long. It was really not that the nurturing part came hard to me. Is that it's enough? Was it enough?
Right. Okay.
You know,
For
because
sure,
there's
for
a
sure.
lot of
For sure.
a lot of people who can do all the boss babe thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Amanda's one of them that
Yeah.
I know, and she's awesome at business and awesome being a mom. But for me, it's like anything I tried to like make a business out of. Again, destiny kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I would
yeah.
do astrology and stuff, and then I'd be like, well, this isn't good enough. This website's not good enough. Writing or painting, all these things I love to do, but I had all this like pressure on them. Like everything needs to be like the next Olympics. You know what I mean? It's like no, it
Interesting.
doesn't. Like
No.
I can just like channel cosmic good energy. It can be in a painting. It can be in something I
sure.
write. It can be at a
Yeah.
girls' lunch. It can be at the barn. Like, yes, that is good enough. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes.
But
100%.
really looking back on things, a lot of what I was doing unconsciously in biking was like, I'm worth something. Like, look, like I'm good enough. I'm worth it. And that comes from a lot of like childhood trauma and thing like that, where it's like trying to be so good just to get like love,
Validate,
you
yeah.
know? But I didn't really see how
Yeah.
wrapped up that dynamic was until after
Isn't
retiring.
it? Oh my word! Yeah. What a powerful, and I mean, just what you said to the self worth. There should be. There's two things I feel like our society, our school, there should be better ways to teach self-worth and help people find their self-worth and focus on the importance of it, and then also financial training, because it's like we don't have any of them, and then you put these poor kids out there and they're like, but you guys are different. You guys are so good.
Well,
both you moms with
we
your kids.
both Miles and I, didn't grow up with a lot of money
Yeah.
or anything
Yeah.
like that. So it's like we're they call it like a lineage breaker sometimes, like
Yeah.
more in like
Yeah.
shamanic stuff, like you're
Yeah.
breaking generational
Yeah.
curses and
Yeah.
things like
For
that.
sure.
So it's like this DIY, but we're doing it together kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we call each other king, queen. It's like we're
That's
building,
beautiful.
you know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yes.
it's like, especially when you're young and you have a brand new baby, like there's so much like financial stress. And
Oh, yeah.
especially like I was saying, like, I'm like, okay, I am making a pretty good amount of money right now, but this isn't working. Like,
Right.
we
yeah.
have,
Oh, and that's hard. Yeah. Oh, so good. Man, there's a lot. I enjoyed this a lot, this kind of, this whole zone. And I do want to say, because it popped into my head, we have one of your beautiful paintings that you did for
Oh,
us. Actually,
yeah.
it's right
I love
upstairs
that one.
above our fireplace. I'm trying to
Yeah.
find a better way to hang it. But it's beautiful. Yeah, the heart is gold. You did that a couple years ago.
Yeah, and the
At a
dining
music.
room
And that one is
one.
awesome.
It
We
looks
have two
so
of them.
good in your
It's-
dining
that
room.
was
I do
perfect.
have to say.
It's
With that
perfect there.
chandelier.
It's perfect there, right? I agree.
Yeah.
That one we see every single day. The other one's the top as you're facing. But it's like those, they do, and not to beat it into the ground too much, but they do have you can feel, for me, sometimes I see art and I'm like, that's pretty. And that's it. I move on. But those two both, there's something you feel when you see those. And I think that's because you put that love into them.
Thank you. Yeah.
They're awesome.
And the frequency and kind of like I was saying, like the channeling stuff, instead of making myself so, rigid is not the right word, but like I had to really realize like I can't fit in a box and I don't need to.
Yeah.
I can really, get excited about however something's flowing through me, and someone else like gets excited about it, whether that's like, a Prosecco lunch with the girls or art or a poem or in the past I would do that kind of thing with my mountain biking. I mean, that channeling, that really creative, divine, mystical energy is when I was going to have all my best races. That's so neat. That's when I'm going to paint the best, and that's when I'm going to be inspired to write or whatever. Stuff. So it's like a goal shift, right? Like, Miles would say, I think his dad said this a lot or something to him, but it's like you got to get out of your own way. Yeah. So you're not your own worst enemy, and you just true. Yeah. Get into the magic, get into the magic zone.
Yes. So good. All right. We could stay here a little bit longer, but let's move forward because it stays with us.
Yeah.
So nice stuff. Now, as you're in that zone, you're in Durango. Family book is starting. It's kind of where your family zone. This new book. What brought you to Boulder?
Well, we had a little tiny hiatus in where were we?
I love these hiatuses.
I know.
Somewhere else.
I can't keep track of my own life. Santa Cruz, California.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
There was a lot going on just in our life, like with Miles's ex and just all kinds of things that were just really intense. Like we actually needed to just really, start over again.
Get away.
You know what I mean? And so we tried to do that, and it was like, that wasn't right. You know what I mean? The vibes were off there for us. And actually, I did an astrology reading with an astrologer I had been working with for like at least a couple years. And then you can do what's called a relocation chart, where you can like see the energy of where's good for your family, where's good for work.
That's neat.
It's pretty cool. And she was like, Boulder would be really great for you guys. And we were just at the point where we're like, okay.
Was it Boulder out of these 6, or she pulled that out of the...
No, there was like some places to choose from. I can't remember the other ones, but
that'd be fun.
But it was like we do want to go back to be closer. Sadly, Miles's son has passed away, but at the time we were like, we do want to be close to TC was his name, like at least so they can do like weekends and things like that. So that was a big factor as well. And then I think Boulder, it just seemed right, and we knew that there was like house building going on here. And so Miles was like, I think I can find... Actually, kind of when I think about my whole life, and thanks for asking me like all these questions, because A, I forget a lot of it, and B, when I'm like, man, we really just dove into things like time and time after again. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm pretty like bold.
I know, which is a good, it's an amazing trait. It's a strong trait, and it's like I'm never going to worry about you.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, right?
Well, actually, and Miles and I, we were talking about that again. It's like, yes, we've been, building and, creating and making investments and doing pretty well. But there's this thing too where it's like that underlying fear of like the rug being pulled out from you is not near as bad as it used to be with both of us, because we're like, we know if we had to start over, we would.
Yes, and you know what? This is it. For one, I think there's a lot of things. If I'm looking from the outside, you both started with very humble beginnings, and you earned your way up here. You may have lost it, brought it back, lost it,
many
brought it back,
times,
right? And so, it really, I love this, and then. You've done it once, so you know you can do it again.
Yes, exactly.
I've done it 10 times. I know we did the 11th.
Like, you need to bet on yourself, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it did take a while, because especially if you have what you call haters or whatever, or just like toxic people around in your life that don't believe in you or do want to keep you down, but you just prove it over and over again. And also, again, whatever word you like to use, like God, the divine intelligence behind the universe, whatever, your angels, your spirit guides, it's like, so much like has got your back, you know what I mean? And so then it's just like, well, I'm actually not doing this all myself.
That's another piece of comfort. I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's so good. Okay, so so you're picking Boulder, and I totally agree too. Like, I think if you guys, when we started this, like if if the rug were pulled out, and it's like, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it does mean that we fast forward to the next podcast here in a couple of years, you're like, yeah, guess what we do now? Guess what we succeeded
There's this scene in, I think it's The Godfather.
Okay.
I'm not quite clear, but what's his name? The big gangster dude?
Well, in this, Al Pacino. What's his?
Yeah, okay. So are you allowed to say like a little one cuss word?
Yeah.
You can bleep it
Totally
out
fine.
or whatever.
I think Miles said 17 of them.
Oh, okay.
I didn't count. But,
well, he's sitting in the bathtub. It must have been like about a drug dealer or whatever. And he's like, who put this shit together? Me. Who do I trust? Me. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. You're right. Yeah.
And so it was funny because there was like an IKEA meme like about that, like who put this IKEA furniture together? But I showed Miles that one day, and then we just started saying it, and it was kind of like fun because it's like, well, who did this?
Me.
Yeah. You know, God, divine intelligence, your guides. You know, we're all working together, I believe, but you're the one that's doing it, and you're showing up, and so you got to bet on yourself, and you got to count on yourself, and believe in yourself, and all that kind of stuff. And then it's like, not that the fear isn't there, but you're just like, okay, whatever life brings, I will like. Yep. Make lemons out of lemonade or
that's
whatever.
That's a second knuckle bump. We'll get it, but that's it. No, I totally 100% with you. With you, feeling it, loving it. That's and I'm gonna have to look up that meme because I recently had an IKEA near meltdown. And B, and B, I love.
Who do you trust?
Yeah, who do you trust?
Yeah.
Who put it?
Yeah, and that thing, I think you were touching on that with Miles a little bit too. But it's a really great life skill to look at whatever is going on as in it's working out for you.
That's right.
Like.
That's right.
Simple as like the traffic or you forgot your keys at home. I mean, I've had so many experiences where it's like something. Well, I'm going to tell this because it's actually good. Back in bike racing, like when you had to actually return the keys to the condo or whatever, or you get like fined $200. It was like our team was 15 minutes down the road on the way to the airport, and my teammate was like, "Oh crap, I have the keys in my pocket," and we're like, "Okay, we have time to turn around and still make it to the airport on time." And I was like, yeah, we're totally good. I bet we're going to like miss a crash or something. On the way back, there was like a 25 car pileup. And you missed it. Yeah. Yes. So it's just, I've trained myself to look at everything that way.
We stole this phrase, but it applies to what you're saying. We didn't steal, we borrowed it. It's, but stuff doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Yeah, 100%.
And when you really take all those hard moments, no matter how small or big they are, and you first step back and say, this happened for me, where can I go? And that can be big life events or small things. Yeah. Or combinations. So, no, that's
or just
neat.
Irritating things.
Or I know.
Right? Like
I know.
You could be like, okay, I can just stop being irritated about this.
I know. I was thinking,
it's up to me.
Totally. And you know what? I was thinking about this a few minutes ago when you said that you were annoyed by getting invited to the DA.
Yeah.
Right? Or the D.
Super D.
The Super D.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
you're like, I don't want to be here,
they don't
but guess
think
what?
Yeah.
There's your portal right there. You would have missed that portal.
I know.
Or you would have found it later.
Yeah.
But so that's neat. All right. Great stuff. And then coming off those and the pictures, I like my brain is still focused on this. We're in Boulder. So what year is it when you get that
2013.
reading? Come back to 2013 and you're here, you land in Boulder. Tell me about coming. You'd been here, right?
Like
sorta?
I feel like I did some like photo shoots for bike teams.
Okay, so
yes, definitely. But I didn't know Boulder.
So you roll in, first impressions, hey, this looks okay, or was it immediate?
I can't even remember.
You can't remember. Okay, second impression.
Miles drove because we had,
from the West.
From California with like a little U-Haul because we didn't have much because we had just been we call it Control Alt Delete. You know when you just are like wipe it and let's go. Let's talk about the computer program or whatever. But I flew with Raven and he picked us up at the airport, and I remember she was kind of crying the whole way.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I blocked it out.
Yeah, you blocked it out, of course. You're like, oh man.
But I can't even remember. I think we had rented a place before we got here. It was like on Rosewood in North Boulder. Like a cute little apartment there.
Yeah, sweet. Okay.
Loved it.
Landed in North Boulder.
Yeah.
And then right away, so you mentioned something that there are houses there because Miles is building. He's already in carpentry. He's already doing, that's his trade. And you're like, we're just going to make it. Did it start out, if you can remember, through, let's say the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you guys, do you have memories of struggle, or do you have memories of like,
memories of having like very, very little. Yeah. But also really great memories of being like, Raven is so cute. You know what I mean? And like I get to be with her and like
all the time. Okay, good.
We're doing this. Like it's somehow it's like working out. But definitely very like very limited financial
Resources,
situation
yeah.
going
Yeah.
on. And yeah, look, but again, that's one of those things that like together as a couple, Miles and I look back on and we're like, damn, you know?
Yeah, totally. Me.
Yeah.
But I agree, and I think that those things are they fortify you as a couple, as a family. They're foundational in what you're building for later.
Yeah.
You know, you got through those difficult financial times, all the stuff. And then I didn't do this with Miles, but often when I'm talking to someone, I'll think about how we met. And I remember meeting you at Rowley Pool with the O'Gormans.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, mental note, got to have Ivan on.
Yes,
Maybe
you got to
Anne-Marie.
have
Anne-Marie
Ivan
doesn't
on.
seem like she'd like to talk about herself. But certainly Ivan, so he's on my list. We met at the pool, and it's just like summertime. And I remember when I first, and folks, if you're not watching on YouTube, you know, it goes without saying, both Willow's gorgeous. Would it be weird to say that Miles is gorgeous?
No, but he is.
He's gorgeous, and Amanda would say the same. She knows I'm saying this. So I meet this woman, and I'm like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. But then you get to know her, and you're like, no, next level. And this is a true
you're so
compliment.
sweet. Thank you.
Because and Emery said, this is our friend Willow, and it's like you're in our town. A lot of times people. They look past you. They look to the next person. I think a lot of people are amazing, but I see this and like I remember you seeing us, and I was there with the kids, and it's like we're my little girl, only just Valentine, but we're like, I feel like there was just a very good energy that I got from you right away, where you're like, it's a genuine person that is seeing us, and not like, well, what's your story?
Right.
Well, did you do this? Well,
Yeah.
have you been there? Well, this, and so we clicked. I didn't really get to know you that well at the time, but over the years, then you got to know Amanda, and we've carried on since. That's just I like to share how I know my guest.
Yeah, you were great because you were in the pool and you're like, everyone can jump in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have help at the pool.
Yeah,
This
totally.
is amazing.
I love it. Yeah, they
Raven,
can jump,
go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, I'll say if
Yeah,
anyone's going under, I'm like, yeah, that was a fun time. It was for a few years.
I met Anne-Marie at the park with Evie May.
With Evie May.
When Raven and she were like a year and a half.
That's so cool.
Just like random, but not random.
Yeah,
the way
totally.
life is magical that way.
Yes, and they're lovely individuals from Ireland. Great folks, great family. For those who don't know them, we'll have Ivan on and we'll tell his stories. Hopefully,
he loves to chit
Hopefully,
chat.
he'll agree.
Yes.
And so, all right, and then let's just see, like, let's just get into a little bit about how you love Boulder and how, or sorry, I shouldn't even say how you love it. How you interact with Boulder Valley. You guys live in Erie now.
Yeah.
You've been in North Boulder. So what are typical days like for you now?
Well, typical days, it's a lot of driving out to TCR because both of our girls are in lessons. So, and then we're leasing. We do want to buy a horse sometime soon, which is fun.
That is exciting.
Because then it's like, well, you know, because you guys own a horse, you can just bond more. You're more, I don't know, there's just a whole nother level. And I'm like, okay, I can drive all day to like take care of like my horse, but there's a lot of driving. You know, I typically do my workouts at home, weights or Pilates or whatever, walk my dog. I'm pretty like 180 from my previous personality.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in like a poetry group right now. So I'm like writing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Super.
I actually wrote a book. That's a whole nother story too, but that was published in 2012.
No way.
It's called My Wheels Gave Me Wings. It's like a semi-autobiography, but it's like the G-rated version, but it opened up a whole portal for me to like leave situations I needed to leave.
Good for
just
you.
my life happens to work like that.
I have to read that.
Well, it's a little intense. You can just talk to me or whatever, but you know what it did?
I can just talk to you. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
no, but you can read it too, but you know, it just was like the end of a whole nother book. Literally writing that book got me out of some like a big thing.
No, it's
very
amazing
toxic family dynamic that I needed to get out of. But it was crazy. I'm like, who even wrote that? Like, honestly, I'm sort of like, who has been living this life? Is it me? I don't know. But so like writing, I am doing that. Painting again. I just had someone buy one for a gallery.
Nice. Congrats.
Thanks. And yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like I'm just like, okay, I'm going to show up and be where I'm meant to be today.
Right.
Bring the frequency, and that's my job.
That's your job.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? This is, I think, another thing that I'll say, complimentary of you and Miles. You are two people that whenever I bump into you, I could be in the best mood, having the greatest day, and I feel better after.
Oh, well,
and
thanks.
That's a true gift that you are sharing with, I think, the world, because some people you don't get that.
Yeah, right.
You don't, right?
Yeah, and yes, it's true.
So that's nice.
Thank
and
you.
I think that's intentional on your part, I think, with Miles as well. You bring that energy. So specifically, like you're driving.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Were you
Well, I was going to say,
cut you off.
just like ripples create waves. You know what I mean? So we really are in a quantum world. Like you don't know how your energy is affecting everything. You can't see it all, but why not just bring the best vibe, you know?
I'm with you.
Or just stay at home. Like honestly, if I'm like in a bad place, I'm gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna just like go around town and complain.
Spread that energy
You know what
out
I mean?
there. Yeah, make those bad ripples.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And I think that's something I'll look at myself for that. I try to be pretty positive.
Oh, Michael, you are.
But
you're the best.
Well, thanks. I look at it and say, well, there's times when I'm like, why am I grumbling at something? Maybe I should take a few minutes on my own.
Look, we're all not perfect, but I do try because I feel like, you know, it makes me feel nice when I hear you say like, look, you know, hanging out with you makes me feel better. Like, you know, I do hear that a lot. And so I feel like that's helped me be more precise, I guess, with how I'm going to show up.
Intentional. You know, my wife says the same. She always, and I see it in the calendar. Whenever I see your name in the calendar, I know she's going to have a blast without fail. She always says that it's like, it's quality time that she looks forward to with you, with friends, alone, you two. It's neat. So we could keep talking about this, but I want to go ahead and move on. Your time here in the county has been, you've been here over 12 years. And so let's say, share with us, because I get to learn this way.
Yeah.
Like, what's your favorite, if you had, and I didn't get Miles' true day, but tell me if you could design
my favorite
perfect day. I love hearing this.
In Boulder County.
Anywhere in the area. If you want to spread to Front Range, like it doesn't have to be, you have to be able to drive
Okay,
there.
I can make a perfect day.
And it could be winter, summer, spring, or fall. I don't care.
Okay, I'll pick a pretty close perfect day because I kind of had one this fall.
Nice.
Going up to Ned to do a hike, like on the beautiful like fall colors around Lost Lake. I'm pretty sure it's called Lost Lake.
Yep.
We actually saw moose.
Hesse
I was
Trailhead
hiking
or
with my
something
friend,
like that, right?
my two Dutch girlfriends.
Oh.
I love that about Boulder. Actually, I have so many like international friends. It's kind of wild, like a whole Dutch group,
That's
and
neat.
then like a Polish girl.
Yeah. Wow.
A couple Russians.
How cool
yeah,
is that?
It's like
it's very international.
Yeah, it's very international.
It brings a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, like even taking the kids to school. It's like I love taking them to school because I'm like, oh my god, my kids are so cute, and they get out of the car. And I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute, you know.
Plus, you get that time. Where it's just
and it's only a
them.
10-minute drive, but like we'll have the radio on. Like,
yes.
It just makes me happy that I can bring them to school.
Yes.
And then like right from there, just like drive out to Ned, grab a coffee.
Okay.
Do a big hike. Well, I don't.
Up there in Ned?
Oh, should I grab it on the way up?
I don't know. Or did you grab it on the way up? You can tell
Maybe
us.
Spruce Confections. They're on Pearl because then you can just go up Canyon and get up to go do your hike. But just like the most gorgeous day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sky like this, like everything, the colors are popping. It's like hallucinogenic basically, you know. And then you're like, wow, is this real? Because it's so pretty.
Yes.
And then you can be like, am I real? You know. And then you just get on this whole like
wait a minute.
then you're like, this is fun. Yeah, we even were sitting on a rock, like having a Prosecco little lunch, which was really fun.
Yeah.
I do like my Prosecco. Anyone that knows me knows I like my Prosecco.
Yeah.
But this huge moose, like walked literally like 6 feet from us.
No way.
Yes.
Were you scared? Or fine?
I just told all my girls, like I do, I'm like, stay in a frequency bubble, put like a little bubble around you. So we're chill and he feels like we're chill. I wouldn't say I was scared, but I was thrilled. It was pretty exciting. Yeah.
I mean, I've never even seen a moose. A lot of people have seen them. I've never seen one, but to haven't seen it that close. And then also to maintain your.
And then I like looking up. I'm like, let's look up what moose means, like an animal totem, like the energy of the animal.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was, but it was something cool. So I love those kind of like synchronicities. Totally. And so then. You know, well, that was fun to have a Prosecco lunch. If on the way back down, I love Brasserie 1010.
Oh,
so maybe like stop there, like after a big hike
Very
and
good.
like have a little more Prosecco, have a nice Niçoise. I love their Niçoise.
That's it.
And then go get the kids from school.
Yep.
And then it's still such a beautiful fall day. You know what I mean?
I do.
And probably walk the dog in my little neighborhood.
Yeah,
and then Miles comes home and he just had some good mountain bike ride or actually dirt biking. He's really into that.
Yeah.
So when Miles, we call it church, when he gets back from church, he is just so happy.
He's amazing,
and just like worn out in the best way, but like high
perfect.
from all the thrills, And then we would probably do like a little happy hour in Erie.
Which restaurant? Or which,
there's 3 really good ones in that little downtown. There's 24 Karat, there's Paripi, and there's the Birdhouse.
Yes.
But we like the Birdhouse. They always give us like a free drink.
The Birdhouse?
Yeah.
And this is so cool. Like, tell people that haven't been there, what would you call that restaurant? Because they have...
It's so interesting, right? They have ramen and tacos.
Yes.
But Miles has had the ramen once or twice, but the tacos are great.
Really good.
I think,
Okay.
You know what's really great about like any place that's local that you keep going to? They know your name. They're happy to see you.
Yes.
They're always complimenting your outfit.
Yes.
They're like, how are you guys? You've got friends. You know what I mean?
Community.
And I love supporting community, whether it's in Boulder or Erie or whatever, because it's like, talk about like circulating, wealth. It's like we're keeping everybody going.
Totally.
Like
100%.
I'm an over tipper. Miles was like, don't tip too much. I'm like, but then you'll get a free drink every time you go somewhere.
Yeah. It's and they feel good and
then again, it's like bringing the vibe and the frequency, and people are happy to see you.
That's right.
They're not like, oh my God, here they come again.
For sure. Yeah, you guys never did that. Nice. Okay, well that's a pretty awesome day. I love that. And
I would have jumped in.
Yeah, go ahead.
If it was warm enough, I would have like found a little swimming hole maybe on the way back down from. Yeah. But then how could I go to the restaurant? Well, I'd have to bring a bathing suit and a towel.
You have extra.
Just pretend I have all the perfect things that I need.
Well, because it's your perfect day. You have everything ready.
But I do love like after a hike like that, just refreshing cold water.
Yeah.
Back from the racing days, that's what we would do. But now ice baths are all the rage, and people like buy the little containers. I'm like, I would just sit in the river in Switzerland is what I did.
I know. The times I've sat in a cold ditch or creek in Boulder.
Anything.
Pre-tech. But hey, they caught up to us. So, well, that's a good day, and I love that you had one of those this fall.
Yeah, it was really
good.
fun.
It's good when people tell me this is my perfect day, and I've had it. So, very cool. We should, and by the way, footnote, let's do that. Let's make a perfect day. Let's do it.
It really was great. I can't
good.
guarantee you're going to see a moose, but something mystical and magical will happen if you're with me, because it's just the way it goes.
That's right. I know. And I agree that bing, and there would be like a little bell there. So I also realized I have seen a moose that was in Steamboat.
Oh,
yeah,
I love Steamboat, by the way.
I
know that's not Boulder County, but
no, it's still cool.
Miles and I have done a couple anniversary trips in the Strawberry Hot Springs.
It's amazing.
It's so great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's good. And the mountain biking, the hiking, and the running, it's all good. And so, but I was thinking about mooses.
I think it's just moose.
The moose. I was thinking about the moose.
Yeah.
And so, well, what a fun thing. Okay. And I did send you an outline. I think we've been in a little bit of that zone, but were you thinking about a question that you were going to answer that I failed to ask?
You better show me that outline.
But if you didn't, I mean, I don't know. Like, you could be like, why didn't he ask me X, Y, and Z?
No, I really, I just like free flowing. You know what I mean?
Me too. But I just think, like, if you're like, oh, I really thought he was going to ask me this, because sometimes I fail at the delivery.
No, I think you did great. We talked about restaurants. We talked about hikes. We talked about, the overall, the community is been so great to us. Good. Like, I feel like I have so many different little communities, which is so fun. I've got people from the horse world. I have people that we met when our kids were little. I have people that like my art. I have people that, we have the same hairstylist. You know what I mean? Like, totally. And so just like little different groups. And I really I do enjoy just being able to float around, I guess, and like there's always something you can bring to any kind of group, and there's always something you can get from the group and receive, and it's just like it makes it exciting, and just to like inspire everybody and to be inspired by everybody is kind of my favorite thing.
Very cool.
And I think it's very easy in Boulder to do that.
It is. Yeah. It is. There's a lot of greatness. There's a lot of great, there's just a lot of, if you're open to seeing it, there's just a lot of, and as you said, you can learn from, be inspired from, inspire, teach, all that. It's a two-way street. So. Very cool. Well, I guess we did have a lot of, I think, discussion about Boulder County this time, and I think that if I were going to start over, I would have the conversation exactly as we had.
Well, thanks, Michael. That was fun, even though I don't remember half of the things I've done in my life.
Details. You know what? To me, I'll honestly sum that up. I think that's really cool because there are certain people that all they are past reference people,
right?
And all they want to do is be like, "Well, '94 I did this," and it's neat to have the details.
I'm like 2004. I'm like, wait a minute, no.
Yeah. Which decade? But to me, that's really cool, and it was, doesn't detract from the amazing accomplishments. It tells you that, that was then and this is now. So
right. I mean,
think
they
it's
do
fun.
say, live in the now.
That's right.
And, it's all happening all at once is the way I kind of
There you
view
go.
reality, where
Yeah.
it's like, that's why I feel like I can portal hop or time travel or whatever. So it gets fuzzy because I can't be so linear.
Yeah.
But I like that about myself, I have to say.
I do too.
And thank
I
you
do
for
too.
liking that too, because
Yeah.
I don't just have like the
Yeah.
list of,
Yes.
of what my life's been like. It's been a journey, and they say enjoy the ride, right? So
There you go.
I definitely
And
have
that
done
you
that.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, of
Thanks,
course.
Michael. That
You're
was
very
fun.
welcome. And so we'll close out as we always do. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks if anyone's watching.
If you're watching, thank you.
And thanks for listening.
And thanks for listening. And until we have another conversation, I would encourage you guys out there to go, and you as well, Willow, go out there and do something that you love.